Just a quick review of the Zimucxn shoulder surgery pillow. So there's a couple reasons why you might want to buy one of these things. The most obvious reason is if you've had shoulder surgery. Obviously, if you have surgery on your shoulder, most people aren't going to be comfortable laying on that shoulder. So that means it's going to lay on their opposite side. So that leaves the arm on the top, the surgical arm, is going to be kind of unsupported. And so it's unsupported and hanging down. It kind of puts tension on the tissues. So it doesn't really feel that good. So people are always looking for something to throw underneath their arm. That kind of raises it up, slacks up the soft tissue, and so you sleep a whole lot better. So that's the obvious reason people are going to be buying these. The other thing is if you're just a side sleeper and you need some kind of support for your arm, I think this is also a great choice. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have surgery to benefit from a pillow like this. Anyway, this pillow has several features I really like. It does have a thumb strap on it, so that if you're standing and you have it under your arm, your elbow is just going to be hanging straight, but it's got a little thumb thing that you stick your thumb in, a little thumb loop, and so that'll further support your arm, which I thought was kind of a cool idea. It does have a pocket on it, so you can put stuff in it, because let's face it, we all tend to carry crap around with us. The other thing is it does have an adjustable Velcro strap on it. And the last thing I really like is that it's got adjustable fill in it. So how that works is it's got a zipper that gives you access to the fill, the stuff that makes it puffy. And you can either take some away or add some. And you can get fill in a lot of places in the sewing sections of a lot of retail stores. So you can add it if you need more, or you can take it away if it's just plain too much. So yeah, I think if you're looking for a pillow, just had shoulder surgery, especially like rotator cuff repairs are real common in the shoulder, shoulder replacements, this is probably a good choice. Now, speaking of rotator cuff, if you do have struggling with a rotator cuff problem, you've had surgery, or you need exercises, or you're thinking about having rotator cuff surgery, this is probably one of the better resources out there. It's totally evidence-based. The 6-minute torn rotator cuff solution for seniors. It says for seniors, but I mean athletes can use this program too. I'm not sure what that's about. If you have any kind of a rotator cuff problem, or honestly, I got to say, if you have any kind of a shoulder issue, you need to at least be strengthening your rotator cuff. And I'll tell you why. Basically, your shoulder is a very shallow ball and socket joint, and it depends heavily on the muscles to support it. It's not like the hip that's a deep ball and socket joint. Because that ball is so deep in there, it doesn't need as much muscles to support it and keep it stable. Shoulder's a little different. It's very shallow ball and socket joint. Depends heavily on muscles to keep it in place and to keep it from having excessive motion. So that's the thing. The stronger your rotator cuff is, the less the tissues around the shoulder are going to be irritated. So if you have a strong stability, strong stable rotator cuff as you're moving your shoulder around and doing things, anything that is irritated, like if you have tendonitis, bursitis, shoulder arthritis, there's going to be less excessive motion, and so there's going to be a lot less irritation, and things can calm down and heal. So definitely going to have a lot less pain if you strengthen your rotator cuff. Anyway, the book starts out with some, basic anatomy. Not really boring. They have lots of pictures here, visual learner. It's just real easy to pick stuff up. Answers, good question and answer section, just about anything you wanted to know about the rotator cuff. What are the symptoms of a rotator cuff? Any arm maneuvers that might indicate I have a tear? What imaging tests are used? Where does it tear at? If you want to know anything about the rotator cuff, if you have a tear, like what do I do? Are there different kinds of rotator cuff tears? Here's a good one. I have a rotator cuff tear and I'm in a lot of pain. I need surgery, right? Well, not necessarily, and I'll tell you why. So, like I said, this is an evidence-based book. Each one of these is a study in layman's terms, so it's really easy to understand. So it answers that question by looking at studies. Say you take 100 people, I'll say, and they have rotator cuff tears. So what they do is these researchers have measured the size of the tear, and then they've found out how much pain they're in. They'll run a pain scale, like a visual analog scale. So then you have 100 people, and you know how big the tear is and how much pain they're in. You think there would be a perfect correlation, but far from it. They're finding a lot of people, a certain percentage of people have a torn rotator cuff, but actually have no pain. So the asymptomatic rotator cuff is a real thing. Lots and lots of studies in the literature have supported this. So here's the deal. Let's say you have shoulder pain. You get around to getting imaging. The MRI shows you have a rotator cuff tear. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I got a rotator cuff. That's the cause of my pain. Well, it may or it may not be. You could have an asymptomatic asymptomatic rotator cuff tear, and there's really something else that's causing your pain. So you don't want to go through a rotator cuff repair unless you know for sure that's really the cause of your pain. Lots of other things can mimic a rotator cuff kind of pain. Anyway, so yeah, not necessarily. What would happen if I leave my rotator cuff tear alone? That's what a lot of people wonder, when they torn it. Well, what if I don't do anything? Will it get better on its own? Well, here again, what they do is they follow people that have had a rotator cuff tear. For some reason or another, they just don't get any treatment for it. I know it sounds crazy, but there are studies on that. And so they follow them for 5 or 10 years. And, they say, like, so what if finally happened to that tear? Did it get better, same, worse? Or does it just repair itself? How does exercise compare to surgery when it comes to treating my torn rotator cuff? Probably the best question of all. The only way you can scientifically answer that is by looking at the randomized controlled trials. That's the highest form of proof in medicine that a treatment is actually effective. So this book has looked at all those, and basically these are studies where they take, say, 100 people with a rotator cuff tear. 50 you randomly assign to surgery, the other 50 you randomly assign to a good exercise program, and then you follow them over time, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. So like say a year or 2 years later, who did better? The people that had their rotator cuff repair or the people that had a good exercise program? So basically you're going to end up at the same point is what a lot of these studies are finding. Anyway, it has a great exercise program, stretching and strengthening exercises. It has a beginning, intermediate, and advanced program, and literally will take you 6 minutes or less a day to do. So really good resource. But hey, if you just had shoulder surgery, you need a good pillow to rest your shoulder on so you get good sleep, because definitely you can fight pain better when you get good rest. I think this is a good choice, so check it out.